Hey bookworms and constant readers, welcome back to the channel. Today it's all about Joe Abercrombie and the Blade itself. This is book 1 in the First Law trilogy. This book was really interesting. I got a lot to say about this book. I'm going to try and make this video as short as possible. Like we do on every video, first thing we're going to do is review the cover. This is the trade paperback. It's not all that great, I don't think. They do look good on a shelf because they're all color-coded, and they look good on a shelf, but just, I don't know, I didn't care too much for the cover. If I saw this in the bookstore, it wouldn't grab my attention and make me buy it. The other thing is if you want to like read the synopsis, it's not on the back here. It's on the inside. You have the author's picture, and then right here it tells you what the book is about. As far as covers go, I've seen better looking covers. I've seen, I think they're the UK editions, the hardback editions. I like their covers better than this cover. So yeah, let me read the synopsis, and then we'll get into the review. So this is, like I said, the first novel in the First Law trilogy. Logan Nine Fingers, infamous barbarian, has finally run out of luck. Caught in one feud too many, he's on the verge of becoming a dead barbarian, leaving nothing behind him but bad songs, dead friends, and a lot of happy enemies. Nobleman, dashing officer, and paragon of selfishness, Captain Jezzel Dan Luthar, has nothing more dangerous in mind than fleecing his friends at cards and dreaming of glory in the fencing circle. But war is brewing, and on the battlefields of the frozen north, they fight by altogether bloodier rules. Inquisitor Glotka, cripple turned torturer, would like nothing better than to see Jezzel come home in a box. But then Glotka hates everyone. Cutting treason out of the Union, one confession at a time, leaves little room for friendship. His latest trail of corpses may lead him right to the rotten heart of government if he can stay alive long enough to follow it. Enter the wizard Baez, a bald old man with a terrible temper and a pathetic assistant. He could be the first magi, he could be a spectacular fraud, but whatever he is, he's about to make the lives of Logan, Jezzel, and Glotka a whole lot more difficult. Murderous conspiracies rise to the surface, old scores are ready to be settled, and the line between hero and villain is sharp enough to draw blood. And I guess you could say that that is the main plot of this book. And that's what I wanted to explain before I got into like what this book is about. So this is the first time I've ever, while reading a book, went and looked at reviews that other people have done for a book, because I was like 200 and I want to say like 20 or 30 pages into this book, and even though it was interesting, it wasn't boring. I didn't understand like what is the point to all this, because you skip around between those main characters that I just mentioned. You get to know a little bit about them, and then it'll go to like Baez, and then it'll go back to like Glotka, and then you'll see what Jezzel's doing, you'll see what Logan is doing, and they're all like just skipping around to each person. But the problem I was having was people would ask me, what's that book about? And I really couldn't answer that. I didn't know what it was about. So I went to see what other booktubers who have reviewed the book said. And I don't remember which booktuber it was. It might have been Brian Lee Durfee. But they put it like this, and I totally agree. And it made me relax and enjoy the story more. This is very character driven and conversation driven story. There's very little world building. I don't even remember the name of the place that we're in. That's how really unimportant it is. You just know that war is in the north, and it's headed to where our group of, I don't know if you call them heroes, because they're not really nice people, but it's headed towards them, and they're in this major city, which again I don't even remember the name of, because it's really not that big of a deal. This is all about the characters, and this booktuber said you need to look at this book like a Quentin Tarantino movie. And they used, and I thought this was a brilliant analogy, is think about the movie Pulp Fiction. If you've seen it and somebody asks you, what is that movie about? What do you tell them? Is it about two gangsters trying to deliver this mysterious briefcase to their crime boss? Yeah, but that's not all there is to it. I mean, what about the boxer Butch, who is supposed to throw a fight for this criminal boss, and instead bets a bunch of money on himself to win, and instead of throwing the fight, he wins the fight, and then he goes on the run. That's another aspect of it. And then you have all this little stuff in between, like Mia Wallace and Vincent Vega going on a date, and her overdose, and that whole thing, the gold watch. There's so much other stuff, but all of these characters, as you see their story, it all intertwines and tells one overarching story that's really hard to pin down, what is it about? And I think the synopsis I read does a good job of that, because it is about this army that is in the north just decimating everybody and heading south, and they're a threat to the empire and they need to be stopped. But there's so much more to the story to that, and that's where the character-driven stories are concerned. So with Logan Nine Fingers, he's the first one you meet in the book. And he is on the run. He's being hunted by, all these enemies. They want him dead and everything. He comes across the worthless assistant to Baez, and he was going to leave him for dead, but he decides to save his life because he is done with this lifestyle that he's been leading. He has a reputation as somebody that you don't mess with. If you cross swords with Logan, it's not going to end well for you. He's got that type of reputation. It's there's a point in the story where he tells somebody he's fighting who he is, and they basically laugh him off and be like, don't lie to me, you're not who you say you are. They go to this, it's kind of like a fortress in the mountains, and you meet Baez. And Baez like protects Logan because he saved his assistant, even though his assistant is freaking worthless. And he basically hires him to get them safely to this city because he has to open this room in this tower that has been closed for like ever. Supposedly he's the only one that has the key. He's like this weird magician. And that's another thing with this fantasy novel that's different from other fantasy novels. Not only is there not a lot of world building, but the magic system really isn't explained. This dude, he is really good with fire, and like he can set people on fire and do, you know, all this amazing stuff. There's one scene in the book where he like basically implodes a guy, and people are terrified of him. My favorite character in the book is Glotka. Glotka has a very interesting story. So Glotka used to be like this superstar, like soldier and fencer. Fencing in this book is a big deal. They have like these championships, and if you're really good at it and you become a champion, like everybody like, you know, worships you like you're this, you know, superstar and everything. And that's what Glotka was at one time. And then he got captured and he got tortured, and they hobbled him. They just did all this horrible stuff, pulled his teeth out, but not all of them. So they would pull like the upper teeth but leave the lower teeth. And then they would pull like the lower teeth, leave the upper teeth. So every time he bites down on something, it hurts because it's teeth on gums. So he can't have solid foods. Another like reoccurring thing is his hatred of stairs. This dude can barely walk. It hurts to walk. He's just like this like shamble of his former self. And he gets put into this position as what they call inquisitor, and he basically tortures people to get them to confess to their crimes, and he enjoys the shit out of it. He hates people, and one person he despises most is the final, well, it's not the final, there's one other person that shows up late in the book, but Jezzel. Jezzel is my least favorite. He is... There's no other like way to put it. He's just a whiny little bitch. He complains about everything. He's like this rich, spoiled brat. He is only in fencing because his father made him. He really doesn't want to do it, but he doesn't want to stand up to his father. He falls in love with his training partner's sister, who is a commoner, and he basically complains about how he can't be with her because he's rich and noble and she's a commoner, and it just won't work. And he's irritating. He complains about everything. He's my least favorite character of the book. And then towards the end, there's another character that is brought in. I do not remember her name now, but she's like a thief. She's also wanted. She's super like tough. She can fight her way out of pretty much anything, and she is brought into the group by Bayaz's brother, which I don't remember his name. He's not in the story for very long. And this group has to basically go and like save the kingdom or whatever. But that only comes at the very end. There's no like it's not like it's not like other fantasy novels where, you know, everybody's on a quest from the beginning. It's just kind of like, here's a little bit about this person, and then we're going to go to this person, and then we're going to go to this person. And so you're wondering the whole time, like, what is the point of all this? But if you stick with it, at the end, when all the stories come together and they become a group, like a fellowship, with one purpose, it's worth it. It's not the best book I ever read. It is very different than other fantasy I've read, and if you just keep in mind that Quentin Tarantino analogy, that this is very character driven, it's very like dialogue, conversational driven, I think you'll enjoy it. I finished this over a week ago. I've been super busy trying to get this video out, but stuff just kept getting in the way. I'm well into, I'm like 160 pages into Les Mis, and I'm over 100 pages into Mr. Mercedes. I don't know which will be next on the channel. Possibly the first video of Les Mis will be on the channel. But The Blade itself, very interesting, very entertaining read. I do recommend it. I gave it, I believe, a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. If you want something different when it comes to fantasy, definitely check it out. I'm curious to see where the story goes in book 2. I will be reading book 2 shortly. But yeah, it's not that long. It's like 500 pages. And that, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, is kind of where I kind of draw the line when it comes to books. If it's over 500 pages, I think twice about reading it. But there are a ton of books out there that are over 500 pages that are amazing. I just like to keep my reading at 500 or less. Les Mis is like 3 times that. That's why it's the goal to get it done over the summer. But yeah, Joe Abercrombie, first time reading him, really good. Check it out. The Blade itself, First Law Trilogy. That's about all I got for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel. I am trying to grow this channel. We're coming up on like 2 years, and I don't even have 100 subscribers yet. So like the channel. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. Comment below if you've read The First Law. What did you think? Hit the bell so you know when new videos come out. I am desperately trying this summer to get a video a week or a video every other week. It's June 1st, so it's almost summertime. Hopefully I can do it. Till next time, read more books.